Gaslighting, a case study in the Forrest Fenn community. Let's talk about a little something called gaslighting, shall we? And what better way to dive into this twisted psychological tactic than with a case study straight out of the Forrest Fenn treasure hunting community. The incident, the Gypsies lack imagination. It all started when Bill Gorman innocently posted in the Forrest Fenn YouTube chat, "The Gypsies lack imagination." Now, for those who aren't familiar with the context, the discussion was centered around the idea that some individuals, including Shelley Carney and Toby Younis, couldn't see faces and figures in canyon walls as part of their treasure hunting efforts. But here's where it gets interesting. Shelley and Toby took Bill's comment extremely personally, despite the fact that he never mentioned them by name. Instead of engaging in a civil discussion or simply ignoring the remark, Shelley decided to take it up a notch. She turned to the camera and told the viewers, "Bill Gorman just personally insulted me." She then proceeded to thank the moderator for keeping the room safe. The gaslighting begins now. Hold on a second. Let's back up and take a good look at what actually transpired. Bill said gypsies. He did not single out Shelley or Toby, nor did he use any vulgar language or launch a personal attack. Yet, somehow, Shelley managed to spin the narrative in such a way that painted Bill as the villain and herself as the victim. Quite the sleight of hand, wouldn't you say? But the real kicker comes next. In the aftermath of this incident, Shelley and Toby, with their considerable influence in the Fenn community, took it upon themselves to push the narrative that Bill was a vicious person. They didn't stop there. They used their popularity and platform to ensure that Bill was ostracized and excluded from participating in discussions on other Fenn-related YouTube channels. And just like that, Bill found himself on the outside looking in, all because of a simple comment that was blown way out of proportion. The gaslighting effect now. Let's take a moment to analyze the fallout of this gaslighting campaign. Bill, an active member of the Fenn community, suddenly found himself marginalized and alienated. His thoughts and contributions, which were once valued and respected, were now being dismissed and discredited. And what's worse, the very individuals who orchestrated this whole charade were being heralded as victims, perpetuating a false narrative and manipulating the perception of those within the community. But here's the thing about gaslighting, it only works if you allow it to. And while Bill was certainly dealt a tough hand, he refused to be silenced or sidelined. He continued to speak his truth, standing firm in the face of adversity and refusing to be gaslit into submission. The way forward. So, where do we go from here? Well, for one, we need to shine a light on gaslighting whenever and wherever it rears its ugly head. We need to call it out for what it is, a manipulative tactic aimed at distorting reality and undermining the confidence and credibility of others. Furthermore, we need to reevaluate how we engage in discourse within our communities. Civil discussions and disagreements are a natural part of any group dynamic, but there's a world of difference between constructive dialogue and targeted gaslighting. Let's strive to foster an environment where differing opinions are not only tolerated but valued, and where individuals are not unfairly demonized for simply expressing their thoughts. In conclusion, the case of Bill Gorman and the gaslighting tactics employed by Shelley Carney and Toby Younis serves as a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that we must be vigilant in recognizing and rejecting manipulative behavior, and that we must uphold the principles of fairness and respect in all our interactions. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where the lines of truth and distortion become blurred, remember the tale of Bill Gorman. Stand up, speak out, and refuse to be gaslit. After all, there's nothing more illuminating than shining a light on the darkest corners of manipulation.